It is possible to simultaneously farm boosters, former, and endo in perhaps one of the cheesiest gameplay loops I'll ever bring to this channel. If that sounds like your kind of thing, sit back, relax, and see how it's done. I'm the Kengineer, let's solve a practical problem. The basic premise here is that most missions have a chance to spawn Ayatan sculptures and faction-specific rare or reinforced storage containers, or rare crates for short. Ayatans almost everyone will be familiar with, especially thanks to Maru's weekly Ayatan hunt, and the endless anasas from sorties. Rare crates, however, you might have only seen sparingly. These containers emit a faint, high-pitched chime sound when you're near to them, just like hidden caches in sabotage missions. Inside, you'll find a booster, a faction resource, and sometimes a Mantis power blueprint. The faction resource naturally depends on the faction. For the Grineer, it's a detonite injector, mainly used in the construction of weapons from the chem lab in your clan's dojo. The Corpus is a Fieldron, again used for weapons from the energy lab. The Infested don't seem to have such a crate, while the Orokin rare crate, such as in the Void, contains a built former. Now it's all well and good knowing these exist, but finding them can be a pain. From a recent poll I put out to the community, nearly 3/4 of responses said they'd found 8 or fewer rare crates ever in playing Warframe. Over a third of players had seen at most 2. The reason I set the limit on that poll at 8 crates is because of a recent live stream I did. In that one stream, over the course of 2.5 hours, we found 8 of these rare crates, and that's including your average live stream distractions and diversions. Suffice to say, I've got a strategy for you here that works. So let's walk through the requirements, the process to optimize this, and ultimately the results you can expect with this farm. The single biggest requirement is the Helminth ability Golden Instinct. This ability is unlocked with level 15 of the Helminth system, making it no small investment to actually get to. However, without it, this whole farm will be so slow as to be utterly pointless. Adding on to that, in order to get proper value from it, you should invest in 200% or higher ability range. The radius of Golden Instinct is a respectable 200 meters, but most missions are substantially bigger than this. Luckily though, once you pass the 400 meter mark, you're covering most of the possible configurations of the missions I'll be guiding you towards, even if the extraction waypoint says a much higher distance. This is because waypoints measure distance from door to door, but Golden Instinct is scanning in a perfect sphere all around you, bypassing pesky things like walls and map design. With a lower range than 200%, you risk missing too many rare pickups with false negatives, so do make sure you pump this up. Even more range can be better for Warframes that really benefit from it. The other thing you absolutely need is you must have a decent loading time into missions. While taking 10 seconds or so to load a mission is fine, if your load time is half a minute in and half a minute out, this will completely ruin the farm for you. Now while these 3 things are enough to get you started, there are a number of extra steps you can take to help yourself out. Your choice of Warframe is important. Not only do you want to mod for high range, but a Warframe that can use that range, such as for crate busting or mobility, will be a great idea. Zaku, Limbo, and Lavos all fit this bill. On top of that, Lavos is a particularly great choice due to his third ability being able to reduce the cooldowns of his other abilities. This reduction includes the cooldown innate to Golden Instinct, allowing Lavos to uniquely cast it more frequently than any other Warframe. Aside from these 3, you can also use Wisp or Volt for team-wide speed, Titania for flight and speed, or Nova for wormholes if you're adept at using them. Further to this, modding for mobility is a grand idea. Parkour velocity, such as from Arcane Consequence, will enable you to cover maps even quicker, and speed is definitely of the essence for this farm. You should also grab, if you can, the Parallax landing craft. You don't need the craft itself, rather the air support it comes with, Orokin Eye. This will mark any rare items within 150 meters that someone in the squad has yet to pick up. Be aware though, both Orokin Eye and Golden Instinct will also target Cephalon fragments, Somachord fragments, Frame Fighter data, and Curia, so try to finish scanning any of those that spawn on the mission you'll be farming to avoid any false positives. But far and away the most impactful, yet technically optional boost to this whole farm is to have some friends. While you can go this alone, a group of 4 players will have substantially better odds, better returns, and likely better sanity. So, with this all together, what is it you actually do with it? It's very simple really. For the core all-round farm, granting boosters, former and endo, you load up the mission Hepit, the lowest level Void capture mission. Immediately on spawning in, you attempt to cast Golden Instinct. If it triggers, you're in the money and have loaded a mission with something rare to find. If it does not, you abandon the mission and load a new one. This will already wipe out over 80% of missions, as they simply have nothing worth bothering with in this case. This is also why that fast loading time is necessary. For me, it takes just under 30 seconds to go from hitting repeat mission to loading in, attempting to scan, finding the area is barren, and leaving back to the screen I started on. If you've got a long load time, it's obviously going to be a lot longer for no gain at all. When you find a mission with a hit on Golden Instinct, your next step depends on if you have friends with you. You see, loading a mission with all of you in it is a complete waste of time. You don't need 4 people to check if one mission is valuable or not. Instead, all 4 of you split up to your own missions and do your own separate scans, fishing for rares. Whoever gets a bite from Golden Instinct first should then invite everyone else to join their mission. Naturally, you will need to have your mission set to friends only or invite only. If you set it to solo, you won't be able to invite your friends. Once everyone is in the mission, whether that's just you or you and 3 others, then you can go and do the mission. With more of you in the squad, you'll be able to split up casts of Golden Instinct to quickly narrow down the location of the rare item you are looking for. If you're alone, however, being Lavos will at least allow you to cast more often than with other Warframes. To quickly narrow down where your prize is, head to the door between 2 rooms on your way to the capture target, or to extraction if you've already reached and caught the target. By casting in the doorway, you'll easily tell if the loot is still ahead of you, or backwards into a side room. For best results, try scanning in every second doorway along the path you're guided down so as not to overshoot by too much. If you're in a group, as soon as Golden Instinct Trail is no longer heading towards the mission waypoint, such as if it's now pointing away from extraction, then someone should use Orokin Eye straight away. If the loot you're looking for is within 150 meters, this will pick it up. If not, follow the trail for a couple rooms, cast Golden Instinct again to make sure you're still on track, and have the next person use their Orokin Eye. The cooldown on Orokin Eye is a fixed 10 minutes, or 5 minutes if you've reached rank 2 engineering intrinsics in Railjack, so you probably won't be in the mission long enough to use yours twice. Having 4 players in the squad will skip around this cooldown as it's per person, so that allows you 4 quick uses without waiting. If you are solo, however, you will need to be more careful not to waste a charge. Use the same process of narrowing down the likely room or 2 that you need to be stood in before using your Orokin Eye air support. Now if you miss with the air support, or if you just don't have it, then you'll need to do things a little more manually. Use the loot radar on your minimap to look for unclaimed loot, as both Iron Sculptures and rare crates look identical to normal loots on the map. This is where a crate busting ability like Cataclysm, the Vast Untime, or Vile Rush can come in quite handy. Or just good old AoE weapons. If you've done this right, in most missions it'll usually take you no more than 2 minutes to find the rare item. Occasionally it can take longer, with my worst time being just over 7 minutes due to waypoint issues. Once you find the rare item, pick it up and then scan with Golden Instinct again. This is very important, as a mission has a low but not zero chance of spawning both an item and a rare crate. You'd hate to miss out just because you didn't check again. Once Golden Instinct confidently reports the area is barren, meaning you've looted all the rare items, it's time to extract and begin the cycle anew. Squadded players split up and resume independently fishing, while solo players just keep on doing the routine yourself. If you are doing this in a group, you will find that most of the time, either you or a friend will get a hit straight away. Like I mentioned earlier, over 80% of missions do not have a rare item to find, but in 18% of my test missions, something did pop up. Across 4 people then, there's a roughly 55% chance each round that at least one of you will have something. Once again, it's all in the speed of everyone else leaving their old mission, loading to the orbiter, and then taking the invite to join the mission of the player who did find something. In testing with a dedicated group, we managed to find and complete 18 missions in an hour with some kind of rare loot. That's 16 items for a total socketed value of 28,125 endo, and 2 rare crates giving us 2 former and 1 hour total of boosters. Doing it solo, I loaded missions and hunted for these rare items for 5 hours. Over the course of 344 missions loaded, 63 of them had something to find, granting a total of 96,900 endo from Sculptures, which averages to just over 19,000 per hour, as well as 8 rare crates and 1 reinforced crate. These crates then granted 9 former, 8 lots of 30-minute boosters, and 1 1-hour booster. In case you were wondering, that's the only difference between rare and reinforced containers. the reinforced one drops a 1 hour booster rather than 30 minutes. These endo rates are better than most endo farms out there, falling behind only optimized runs of Vodyanoi or some arbitrations. Mind you, this isn't all sunshine and roses. Let me cover the downsides for you. Firstly, it's a lot of mission loading and abandoning. In a group, it's plenty fine, as you'll be communicating with, and hopefully enjoy chatting with, your friends as you go. Solo, I will admit I was slightly losing my mind by about halfway through the 5 hours. At least for you lot, you won't need to record the results of every single mission you load, so you can just idly run this farm whilst watching something on the TV. The second thing to consider, Golden Instinct is great until it stops working. It'll try to trace out a path to guide you towards an item, but sometimes this can fail. If the path is blocked, such as a rare item spawning in one of the Orokin time trial rooms, then Golden Instinct has a tendency to become very lazy. Rather than guiding you to the right room, it might just go straight through the walls. When that happens, all you can do is open up the full map and try to figure out where this unusual location might be, based on the direction Golden Instinct went. Often, it's a challenge room, but sometimes the rare item is just placed on a ledge and Golden Instinct immediately gave up. Thirdly, if you are paying attention to the results there, you may have noticed that both in a group and solo, it averaged 1 hour of boosters earned for 1 hour of mission running, only going beyond that on one stream. If you're only looking for boosters or only looking for Forma, this is not a good farm. You'd be better served farming platinum from opening relics or some other process and using that to buy Forma and boosters. However, if your goal is also to farm endo, then the boosters and Forma become a cherry on top that you can use as and when they appear. A sudden 1 hour affinity booster can allow you to take a break from the endo farm and level up some new gear in half the usual time. Like much of Warframe, the more farms you can benefit from simultaneously, the better off you usually are. And finally, as much as playing in a group makes this farm faster, it's only faster than solo if you're in an efficient group. If someone's got slow loading times, or someone's dragging themselves to extraction, making everyone else wait, this will again drop your rates. This is why I suggest only doing this farm with friends. If you try doing this with randoms, it might end up getting toxic. Now, if you're not fussed about Forma, there are a couple other missions that you can look at to do this same farm in a different environment. The first is you can head over to Mariana on Earth. It's a very short, exceedingly low level Grineer mission that's perfect for rare hunting. Alternatively, head to Skyresh on Phobos, a quick low level capture mission against the Corpus. These two missions have the benefit of not having Orokin challenge rooms, as well as being a small source of Detonite or Fieldron respectively, at the cost of no Forma and no Argon crystals. So all said and done, this is an odd strategy and a very cheesy one given we're constantly cycling missions. Still, it is undeniable that it is a source of endo, Forma and boosters all in one. If you want to take a more detailed look at my research, all the more in-depth data from my testing is available over on my Patreon. The link for that is in the video description. That's all from me for now though, so as always, scam missions, earn boosters, and fight well, Tenno.